Hello internet friends, my name is Catherine and I'm the human behind Creation Miss Couture, and today is the final episode for Kelly Green. I'm super excited to be done with this color. It's just been a full disappointment from day one that we've been working with it, so if you want to catch up on the whole series, I have a playlist just for you called Color Wheel Monday, and I hope you enjoyed the video. Let's get into this. And it's our last Color Wheel Monday, the series in which I make my way through color theory one color at a time. Well, at least it's the last within this format where we work our way through color theory one color at a time. So we're going to most likely be doing something different after this. There's still the episode where we're going to do the suggestion of one of the viewers that they sent me a while ago via email. So we're not done. It's going to be different. So this is the episode where we're doing the Kelly Green fade and the one where we're adding the black to difference that it does in the hues and all of that. So first thing we're going to do is do the true black stock solution. What is a stock solution? It is the liquid form. So it's a concentrate of the dry powder mixed with the water. So we want to do a 1% stock solution in this case. So it's 1 gram per 100 milliliter of water. And as you can see, I had to buy a bigger jar because I ran out of the other one. And this is one of the colors that can be used. It's one of the most versatile colors. So I just might as well buy the bigger jar. So it's a 1 pound. Okay, so the first thing we need to do before doing any sort of mixing color or anything is put our respirator on. It doesn't have to be the specific brands, just make sure it's a brand of respirator that that will trap the fine particles, so you won't be breathing those fine particles, because we only have one pair of lungs, so please protect them. Okay, and always make sure that the nose and straps are properly adjusted to your face so nothing can come in. So if you're working for a long period of time, you should have marks on your face because of the respirator. Oh boy. It is a bitter. Oh, almost there. Let's remove a tiny bit of that. And before measuring anything, always make sure that your scale is at 0. So that way you make sure that you can repeat your colors. If you don't want to repeat your colors, you do whatever you want. I'm just telling you, it's just more precise and it will help you in the future. Right, and now we're going to be adding the water. There we go. Okay, voila. And now that everything is in a liquid form, we are good to remove our respirator because it's only the fine particles that are not breathable. So we're going to do the fade first, the fade of green. This series with the Kelly Green has been so disappointed so far. We've barely had any change of color, so it's just it's so disappointing. I don't know, I don't know why it was like that. I didn't realize how potent Kelly Green was. So I was very disappointed, I'm not gonna lie. Okay, so we're going to do from 0.05% depth of shade up to a 1% depth of shade with the Kelly Green. So we're going to start with 0.5, 1 millimeter, 2.5 millimeter, and now we're doing 5 millimeter, 7.5 millimeter, and 10 millimeter for our 1% depth of shade, because we are using 10 gram mini skeins from Fingering Stroll from Nitpick. So we're using that for our minis because it makes it super easy to do the math. Because 1% depth of shade for a 10 gram mini skeins will be 10 millimeter of our of our 1% stock solution. And there's currently no citric acid in the water. We only have tap water, and we have approximately 400 milliliter of the tap water, which is at room temperature. There we go. So, and before adding the mini skeins to the jars, I try to squish out the excess water so we don't incorporate more liquid into the jars. It's very cute, minty. It reminds me of that alcohol, like cream of mint. Creme of malt? I don't know. It's a mint alcohol. I've never really tried it. I'm sure it tastes like toothpaste. It's probably why I've never tasted it. I just realized that my mic was weird on the side, so sorry if the sound was muffled. I just moved it. And I think this is going to be very interesting to see the mason jars after we have finished cooking the yarn, because we will be able to see at which point we have leftover color in the mason jars. So you'll be able to see how quick. Oh no, I think I have too much liquid in this one. Okay, I'll have to be very careful with that one. Okay, so this is for the fade. Now we're going to do our regular stuff, which is doing a 1% depth of shade for the green and adding from 0.05% depth of shade, sorry about that, up to a 1% depth of shade for the black. And the same thing, we do not have any citric acid as of right now in any of the jars. And we don't have any heat. It's tap water at room temperature. Like, this whole green section has been so boring. I'm so sorry for everyone who've watched those videos, because I was hoping that we would have a more drastic color change. At least with the fade, we know that we won't. That's what we were expecting. So it's been a little disappointing. I'm not gonna lie. It's fine. Everything is fine. Okay. And now I'll be full of colors again. Oh gosh. I'm going to be green for a few days now. That's just the life of an indie dyer. There's always colors everywhere. So now we're going to be adding our 10 gram mini skeins of Fingering Stroll from the Nitpick, which is 75% superwash merino and 15% nylon. I've been having issues with putting too much water. Normally I would put only 400 milliliters of water in my mason jars, because we can't have too much water if we want to have space for the mini skeins as well. So we're just going to have a darker shades of green, which I was expecting. So I think the only time we got brown was when we were mixing the fire engine red with the Kelly green. It was a very nice fade though. I'm just very disappointed. No, we didn't. I don't think we even had brown at that point. Oh, I'm sorry. I have issues with two skins that decided to be best friend forever. And now there's a knot in my mini skeins. Okay, I've got that. There was two mini skeins that decided to join themselves. Don't get me wrong, it's a very pretty green. So if you want to have a moody green, add black. Okay, last but not least. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to go into our double boiler. Okay, so we're going to turn on the heat right now because it's going to take a little longer for the water to reach the right temperature for the color to set. So we want the water to be between 85 to 95 Celsius. So we need to wait a little bit to do that. And we still do not have currently any citric acid in our mason jars. We're going to wait 10 to 15 minutes to give a good chance to the skins to absorb a little bit more evenly of the dye. So we're going to see each other in 15 minutes. Okay, so it's been about 15 minutes. So what we're doing now is adding the citric acid in our mason jars. So the rule of thumb is usually 1 tablespoon per pound. So 454 grams of yarn and or fiber. So since we only have 10-gram mini skeins, I'm not even putting a teaspoon in it because that would be a little too much. We don't need that. What could happen if you were to put too much citric acid is that you could glaze your yarn rather than like have a uniform look. So yeah, this is a risk that could happen. And glazing is actually really pretty. To do it on purpose can be hard sometimes, so just so you know. But it's definitely something that you could be doing. If you want to try glazing, you would need a high volume of acidity in your water, and I would recommend having your water really hot fast, so that way it strikes extremely quickly. And like sometimes it kind of creates a porous effect on your yarn. So if you're dyeing with like two different colors, like the second layer that is glazed would look like you could see the other color underneath the second layer, if it makes sense. So like your first layer would show through your second layer of color. So we're going to wait for the water to reach 85 to 95 Celsius. Once we reach that temperature, we're going to be doing a 30 minutes countdown to let it cook, and then we're going to turn off the heat to let it completely cool off before like washing off any excess dyes, because we know with this color that we're going to have excess dye and some bleeding in the water. Okay, I will see you later. Okay, so we are good. There's going to be some leftover colors, but this was to be expected. So, but we're good to go, so we can turn off the heat and let it completely cool off. And we're going to wash off any excess dye once we're there. So I will see you later. Okay, so we shouldn't have as much bleeding as we usually do, since for the fade, well, there's not as much dye in all of it. So we're going to let it soak for a little bit, and we're going to come back to remove anything excessive. Okay, let's see what we have. We shouldn't have that much bleeding because only one of them was at 1% depth of shade. And like from what I could see from the mason jars, we could start seeing bleeding at like 0.5% depth of shade. So there's a little bit of color, which was to be expected. But there's not too much. I think one more soak and I'll be happy with the amount of bleeding we have. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to do one last soak and we're going to come back. Okay. Okay, so I'm happy with the level that we can see in the water. It's not perfect. It will never be perfect when you have this type of color, but it is what it is. Okay, let's do with the black now. We are going to have much more bleeding with this one, for sure. It's something we are expecting. I'm just trying to untangle some of the skeins. Okay, so we're going to let this soak for a little bit, like 10 minutes, and we're gonna come back. And we can already see a huge difference from this one compared to the first one we did. And I've put the jars next to each other for the empty mason jars with the liquid in it, so we'll be able to see also how much leftover color there is in the mason jars, and you'll be able to see the comparison as soon as we hit that 0.5% depth of shade. So I'm just going to let this soak a little bit again. And we're going to say good enough. Is it perfect? Absolutely not. But it's going to be the best we can do with what we have. So we're going to put that in the spin dryer, and then we're going to let it dry overnight, and I will see you tomorrow for the final results. Bye! I almost forgot to show you my mason jars. I apologize for that. So in the back row over here, we have, so this was the fade, and you can see the contrast with the color we've added the true black in it. So you can see that here we have no color left in here, no color, a slight hint that we could kind of see at the 0.25% depth of shade. But as soon as we hit that 0.5% depth of shade, we have bleeding left behind. So we have colors, which sucks, but that's just the nature of it. So for Kelly green and similar colors, you will have to be careful how much you're using. So yeah, and you can see that this one, like all the other ones we've done, have a lot of color left behind, unfortunately. So it is what it is. I think there's enough that we could probably dye a skein of bare yarn. Maybe. You know what? I think I'll do that. So I'll put that in a pot and I'll show you the final result. Just trust me, I will put a skein in a pot with all that. Yeah, I'll do that. Okay, I will see you at the final result. And here's the final result of our Kelly Green experiment. It's the last with Kelly Green. I'm super excited that it's the last because I am extremely disappointed with Kelly Green. It is way too intense, and I think I'm going to do another thing where I will be experimenting with all the greens I have to see if they're all that bad, because I am very, yeah, that sucks. If you like the video, please consider sharing, liking, and subscribing, and I'll see you in the next one very soon. Bye!